Greetings and salutations, young true believers of San Jose State University. So, welcome to Philosophy 66, Introduction to Aesthetics. Hopefully, you've watched the Crash Course in Philosophy videos about what aesthetics is, giving you an overview of, again, the philosophy of art, philosophy of beauty. Our very first reading from the text is Plato. It's an excerpt from the Republic, Book 2. And it's against mimesis. Mimesis is a Greek word. It's the serves as the root for the word mime, right? So if you're miming someone, you're imitating them, and that's what mimesis means, imitation. And the ancient Greeks thought that that's what art, at least that's what sculpture and painting were. They were a kind of imitation, and it was thought profound that people could imitate the natural world through paint and through marble or through clay. But Plato, and this might, for those of you who have never had a chance to study philosophy, it might surprise you to learn that Plato despised art, except for music, it should be noted. But he hated what might be called representational art, art that attempts to represent what we see out in the natural world. Why would this be the case? Well, in order to explain why Plato has such disdain for representational art, for mimesis, that is to say, copying the natural world, you're going to have to understand a little bit about Plato's metaphysical beliefs. Now, there's some philosophical jargon for you, so don't worry, I will never use philosophical jargon and not tell you what it means. So metaphysics is not what you see, you walk into a used bookstore and there are books on tarot card reading and astral projection. That's not what a philosopher understands by metaphysics. Metaphysics is that branch of philosophy that deals with the ultimate nature of reality. What can be said to exist? Questions like what is time? What is personal identity? These are metaphysical questions. So again, the ultimate nature of reality, the study of the ultimate nature of reality. And so to understand what Plato's up to, Plato believes that this world, the world of what philosophers call medium-sized objects, tables, chairs, dogs, cats, homes, etc., right? This world is a bad copy of a perfect world. The perfect world is transcendent, which means it is beyond space and time. So I'll give you a brief account of what he's up to. So if you take any ordinary object, chairs, for example, you're going to notice when you use that noun refers to a lot of different objects that sometimes don't necessarily resemble one another all that much. You know, a lazy boy is very different from, say, a metal folding chair, from a bar stool, from a chair, attached to a desk in a classroom, right? And yet we use the same word, chair, in English, stool in German, right, etc., to refer to the same object. So this has led to a long-standing, and by long-standing I mean this has ancient roots, right, debate in metaphysics. Well, what exists? Do individuals exist? I'm an individual, Brad Pitt's an individual, Michael Che's an individual, right? So do individual men exist, or is there an abstract class of things called men, right, out in the world? Is it the case that Fido exists and Rover exists? I hate those. Nobody's ever named their dog that, but you get the idea, right? Or is it the case that there's a class of things called dogs? So this is what's known as the nominalist realist debate. Nominalism is the view that there are no such things as classes. They don't exist in a natural world. Classes are an artifact of language. It's just it reveals when we speak about things like men, women, dogs, cats, chairs. It's because our language limits us. We can't help but use these terms, but these sets of things don't actually exist out in the world. The opposite view is what's known as metaphysical realism, and this is a view that Plato endorses. There are sets, classes of things actually exist in the world. And what Plato argues is that in a transcendent realm, again, beyond space and time, there's a realm, the realm of the forms, eidos in Greek, And in this realm, there are archetypes of dogs, cats, chairs, men, women. There are also archetypes of abstract concepts or just concepts in general, like good. Good is the highest of the forms, right? So what the hell does all this, pardon my French, what's this all got to do with art? When an artist paints a landscape, they're making a copy of what is already a bad copy. When a sculptor sculpts a woman, she or he is making a copy of what again is already a bad copy, right? So what Plato argues is that we shouldn't waste our time with art. We should be busying ourselves. Our true purpose is to improve our souls, right? And this has to do with Greek beliefs about the afterlife. Contrary to popular belief, it's not just the ancient Indians who believed in reincarnation, right? The ancient Greeks, this was actually a very widespread belief. And like the ancient Indians, the ancient Greeks believed you did not want to be reborn. You did not want to come back reincarnated. You wanted to pass on to the afterlife and shed any physical form, right? Plato thought this was so because then you could study the forms better, right? Unimpeded by the limits of physical matter. So art just encourages young people, and he's always concerned about the souls of young people in particular, right? He encourages young people to make bad copies again of what is a bad copy and not attend to their souls, but to attend to that which is entertaining and frivolous, right? So Plato is decidedly anti-art, at least, again, representational art. We'll be talking a lot more about representational art in the weeks to come.